All right, guys. We had good lighting today. We had good lighting. And that always makes the face, because we're on another episode of How Ugly Is My Face Today, or cringe-strophic disclosure, as they say. And I don't know, is there any change? I can't tell at this point. I think we have truly plateaued in the overall, but I'll tell you this much. The microlesion therapy is definitely reducing the foliage, because I feel like I can get a slightly better shave daily than I could before, and that is always a good thing that happens. Anyway, it's going to be a short video today because lots of things going on, and it is kind of like vacation time. But I want to leave you with a couple of interesting things, because there's a good nugget from Eli the Computer Guy's last video which really made sense, and that is good advice for the future. And that is why I never tell you, because I can't give you advice on how to get a job. I send you to Eli the Computer Guy. And also, he had this forward-thinking idea, which is genius, which is, how should kids think about going to university if they plan to go to university to learn skills for the future? Don't think about the career that you can have today, because in 5 or 10 years, or even more, depending if you're going to be a doctor or not, that career could, not exist anymore. So look at the field, project it into the future, and see. Oh, I was joking about lighting. Look at that. Oh, that's flattering right there. Anyway, let me weave back into what I was talking about. Don't think about the job that you can have today. Think about the job that may exist 5 years into the future, and then try to land a gig that way by working with how do you say, the universities or your school, whatever, to learn the skills required for that job, because the current job that's in the market right now may not be there in 5 years. Now, I know this is not the way people used to do this stuff in the past, because, things used to be a lot more stable 10, 15, 20, even 30 years ago. But not so much, because, as I said before, when I exited school, I thought I was going to do one thing, and then I found scorched earth. Scorched earth, not fun. Anyway, or maybe that's just what you get if you live in a big city like California, like Los Angeles, New York, and all the big cities out there. San Francisco. Gosh, that used to be a nice city. Maybe Burlingame, where I used to live, maybe Burlingame is still beautiful. Maybe San Mateo is still cool. I don't know. Haven't been there in a while. Those were great places to be. But just don't go in the middle. Don't go in the middle of the city. That will make you want to pull your hair out. So anyway, I thought that was really smart that Eli the Computer Guy came up with that, because that makes sense, especially how quickly that we're seeing everything develop in every industry. If you want to be at the forefront of technology, you've got to look into 5 years into the future. How do you do that? Well, you're going to have to, as a parent, as a child, work with your parents, work with the teachers, work with industry, and most importantly, figure out what the top tech professionals and industry is looking for, how they're projecting into the future. Maybe space is going to be what it's all about. Maybe Electric State. I mean, a lot of people bashed that movie so much, and I understand why. The budget was out of control. But that movie right there is a documentary. It's really not a movie. It's a documentary of what we can imagine the future may be. We'll have robots on Mars. We'll have robots on the moon. And we may have headsets, and we may be controlling what they're doing, or even on a screen. Doesn't really need to be a headset like the virtual reality goggles or augmented reality, so AR, VR, any of those. It could just be that. it could just be that you use a computer screen like we always do, and you control robots that will be mining, building, and doing all that cool stuff elsewhere. It doesn't even need to be there. It could also be what happens like, what is it, District 9? That's not a fun application of robots, but anyway, it could be that. It could be Netanyahu's strategy for the future. He will have robots in Gaza, and he'll have his minions with electric state, whatever, controlling. I don't know. It's crazy what's going on in the world today. But anyway, I thought I'd just put that out there because Eli the Computer Guy has amazing nuggets all the time. Sometimes even Original Dobo has some pretty good things he talks about on how to get people into the drones field if you're still interested in going into the drones field. If you are not a professional drone flyer, and if you are just wanting to do this, like fly drones for non-commercial purposes and just for fun, just remember, only buy drones that are under 250 grams. Sorry, 250 grams. If you go to the 150 grams and under category, it's even better because sometimes we had the Super Scooper event where they pretended like it was a 250 gram thing that hit the Super Scooper, and it was a total lie. It was obviously a much larger drone that caused the damage on the Super Scooper. But, you know, fake news can never report anything, right? That's why I was talking about Superman the other day, and I'm like, maybe in our movies, like Superman and, what was the other one? Spider-Man, we could show people what real reporting looks like and not just being government robots, blah, 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 with a script, and actual do real reporting, so that we can educate the children of the future if they decide to go into those gigs or do their own thing on like alternate media, which is podcasting these days. At least they could report the truth, or the best version of the truth that they can with video evidence and stuff. That would be pretty cool. You know, show the receipts. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. And the other thing that I want to mention is remote ID. Never buy a drone with remote ID on it, especially if you are a very private person. The second you have remote ID on any of your drone and it becomes active in your house, anybody with an app knows where you're flying in your house and where you are in your house. It tells your location. So the person flying the drone is exactly located. So imagine if you are, stupidly enough, in a country where there's a war zone. It's like having a beeper. Remember those pagers that they use to blow you up? It's basically the same thing. So if you are holding a remote control and using the remote ID thing, you can, your location is being pinpointed at all times. So if somebody decides to drone bomb your house, they know exactly where you are in your house. If you are having a good time at the park and you are showing your remote ID is broadcasting a signal, they know exactly where to throw that grenade. So, I mean, do you really want your kids? Do you want to put a target on your kid's back and buy them a DJI drone in the modern world today when it's remote ID? And any other company that has remote ID, boycott it. That's my advice to you. But you do whatever you want. And I got very upset with influencers that were like, nah, it's just going to go away because it's 2025 and it's only getting worse. Thanks for watching. Check out Eli the Computer Guy. He's got good advice. Take care. Bye-bye.